Okay, so we're going to do the roll collar, which is similar to the Peter Pan, apart from it's more like a shirt collar where it stands up at the back. Okay, so you've got your bodice front and back pieces. I've just got sections. So this is the centre front working net. Exactly the same as when we drafted the Peter Pan collar. I'm just going to overlap it at the shoulder slightly. You remember that. It was 1.5 at the end of the shoulder. So just cross that over, keeping it at the neck, and 1.5 centimetres. You're overlapping at the shoulder, holding the neck the same, just to tighten it. And then you do and then you need to draft your shape of your collar, so you're considering your centre front and that it's mirrored at the centre front and what you want that to look like. We lowered this a little bit just so it didn't strangle us. Okay, and then you think of your design feature, how far out it's going to be. So if I just mirror draw it on that side, then you can see what it will look like when it's on the body, and then the distance that you want it to be. How wide, deep you want this to be. So the collar, when it's on, will still look the same, but as a Peter Pan collar, it lays completely flat, like the sailor collar. But this one, I want it to be more slightly stood up. A bit more like a shirt, but it's called a roll collar or high back. So I'm just going to make that a 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's my draft for my Peter Pan collar, and then I want to add on here onto this is the where it sits in the neck. I want to add on how high I want the roll. So you have to think where it goes, and it goes up and then over. All right, so if I say I want to have it stood up at my back neck, 2 centimetres, I'm going to add 2 centimetres at the centre back. Up, it has to go up and then over, so I actually need to add that twice. Okay, because I want it to stand up away from the neck. Oh, not sure what's gone down there. So it stands away from the net, and I've done that 2 centimetres, okay, and then another 2 centimetres to allow it to go up and over, which is that there. That's what this is, okay. So, and then we just make a nice curve. Now this wouldn't fit the neck measurement. You will not be able to sew that onto the bodice neck measurement. All right, that's too small. So what we then need to do is slash this pattern piece so it fits the original neckline when it all sews together. Remember, we draft with no seam allowances. Okay, so you've got a nice curve there, and the centre back at the back neck, because that will be on the fold. A right angle at the centre back neck, because that will be on the fold. But this is not going to sew into my body. So you've now got this, which needs to fit the front and back neck. So I'm just going to slash the neck out to the collar edge to open it up enough that it sews. Okay, so you need to know what your net neck measurement is from the centre back to the centre front. Use your tape measure, and then you know what it is. Obviously you can mark your shoulder seam on as well. So it's 8.3 to the shoulder, 8.3 on the back neck. And then it's 11. I did lower it a bit, so 11 centimetres on the front neck. Okay, so that is a total of 19.3, which is what we need to open this pattern piece to. Okay, so we're going to slash it, and we've got our neck measurements, and we just need to spread it out. So tape it down, that's the centre back. Okay, and then we know that this is the centre front, and we're going to spread that out. So I knew that this was where my shoulder seam roughly was before, so around this area is where I want my first one to finish, the 8.3. Again, you're just sort of making a, stick that one down, nice curve. It's just splaying out. So it depends obviously how high your roll is as to how your pattern changes. That's where I'm going to put my neckline. It probably needs to be a bit more splayed than that, so I can have my neckline in a similar place, thinking about it. I don't want to displace my neckline too much. It was roughly there, my shoulder. Okay, so that's going to be my shoulder notch. That's 8.3 here. And then we're going to continue the front out. 11 it came out to. Okay, and that comes to about here. Right, so this one I know needs to come to there, and we'll just put it, spread it equally. Okay, so that is the roll collar, high back, flat front draft. You just then join that together, trace round it. Obviously all these bits you make good in between, make it a nice shape, trace round it neatly. Okay, and then you add your seam allowances, and you've got your centre front and then your shoulder, and that's how you draft your pattern piece.